So we know that there are a lot of frameworks in implementation science, and sometimes people feel overwhelmed with how many there are. So we never really decided that we're going to go and build a new framework. We kind of happened to accidentally make one. Our original intention was to understand what strategies could align with certain contextual barriers and facilitators. But in the process of doing this, we realized that the process of understanding context is so complex that maybe we need a more robust framework. We were looking at different context assessments for different kinds of questions that people had. So, like, does this fit? Are we ready? What happens during implementation and sustainability? And we thought, hey, these overlap so much. Can we put them together in a way where people can use one framework to look at all of these things? The other thing that we realized as we were talking to more and more people from different countries who work in LMICs is that using a context framework is context dependent. Sometimes you see a context framework and you're like, these factors do not resonate with me. And we're wondering, why is that? And so when we started looking at all these different context frameworks, we realized that some of them are really prioritizing certain types of factors over others. And we thought, is there a way to bring these all together to make this more globally relevant? We also want to make sure we are describing factors at multiple levels from your implementation setting to the system setting, and that there might be other things in between those settings that you could be describing. So an example is you might be working in a unit that's within an organization that is within a community that resides in a wider system. And for your initiative, it might be important to assess context at all of those levels. And so there's not just really two levels, but there's actually like four levels that you have to analyze. So with that, we created the context compass framework. The framework has multiple levels of factors that you can address. And each of these factors can be relevant at either the implementation setting level all the way up to the system setting and also whatever levels you define. So you can use the same factors within each of those setting levels. You don't have to redefine the factors for different levels, which I think is a really novel way to look at factors because some of them are relevant at those multiple levels of the system. We also describe factors by the different types of context assessments you might be embarking on. So, for example, fit, readiness, and implementation and sustainability. And so you could use the same framework for all of those different things. The next component of the context compass framework is that there are 15 factors that we have synthesized from multiple different frameworks. So what we're doing here is we are bringing together all of these factors that might be relevant broadly to anybody in any context, basically in any country. And we have multiple sub-factors that can help describe those factors for people who are wondering whether or not context or this context framework is relevant to their own context.